I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller, the Saucy Sleuth.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm a Tyler Riley, a cop and a half.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/a-the-c-pod and browse the unmatched selections of audio programs. Download the title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/a-the-c-pod. My wife.
Okay. All right.
Great
I
success.
finally understood that was a Borat thing.
It's Borat and Bartok mixed
yeah,
together.
it's Bartok. That's what I thought at first.
Oh, I thought we were going Dutch.
Yeah, that is the accent that Borat had. Not Borat. Oops.
Bartok the Magnificent.
Yes, Bartok the Magnificent has. Fuck that Pilaf.
An underrated sequel.
So good.
It has Jennifer Tilly and Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Kelsey Grammer's a good actor.
I don't know why anyone is surprised that he's a jackass.
Oh.
Is he, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, not a good person at all.
Oh, he supported so many, black creators, though. That's disappointing to hear that he's a jackass.
Yeah, I'm glad he's at least done that.
Yeah, a lot of the UPN shows, he really paved the way for Amara Brocka Keel, who's the creator of Black Lightning and Girlfriends. He's produced a number of their works.
Oh, good. Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Maybe his life isn't an entire waste.
I would say so with Frasier alone, but yes.
I know.
Oh.
No, it's one of those things. It's like when people do stuff that sucks, but they also do stuff that's great. It's like, how do you reconcile this? I mean, I guess it's just kind of a wash.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like Mindy, the character in Good Place, who's in The Medium Place.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, I was kind of terrible, but then I also, accidentally found a cure for this terrible disease.
Yeah.
So here I am.
I call it Johnny Depp syndrome. Yeah, because he's done a lot of charity work, done a lot of visiting kids in hospitals, been nice to people, but also has not been nice to people, to put it lightly.
Sometimes you have to go to the Johnny depths of someone's character to find out who they truly are.
Yikes.
The more you know.
Oh my gosh. All right.
My dog looks like Bartok. Also,
yes.
I just had to say that. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. Bad ears, white face. Yeah.
There was something the Dutch thing. That's something that always bothers me whenever anyone, I think I've talked about this on the program before. Whenever anyone does Hamlet, they never do it in the Dutch accent.
Well, it shouldn't be Dutch. It should be Scandinavian.
It is Denmark.
Isn't Denmark Dutch?
Yeah, it's Denmark.
It's not
Where are Dutch people from then?
The Netherlands.
Yeah, Holland.
Holland.
That's not that.
You're thinking Danish, not Dutch.
I'm thinking Danish, not Dutch.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have been to both countries.
Well,
yes.
la-dee-da.
I've been to the Hamlet Castle.
Me too.
Oh, you've been to Elsinore? We never talked about that.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I love talking about it when I'm doing Hamlet because I feel like the most pretentious person in the world, but it makes me so happy. I'm like, well, I've been there, so I can really play this character.
I've been to the Corn Palace multiple times in South Dakota, if that means anything to you.
It means you can play corny characters.
I was like, isn't that a cruising spot? But that's a whole other...
Oh!
All right, we're 4 minutes in and we're already horny, which you love to see.
Yeah. Good opener.
100%.
Good Marin.
Today, why is today different than all the other days? It's because we watched Hickory Dickory Dock, Season 6, Episode 2 of Agatha Christie's Poirot. There we go. That's what we're doing.
Hickory Dickory.
Yeah, they have a very similar thing to 1-2 Buckle My Shoe.
It is not as annoying.
No.
Certainly not as
it is not as prevalent. It's much more subtle. Maybe they learned.
I'll say this. If you are like my mother, who listens to and watches the program with us.
Gotta love it.
And you don't like rats or mice or any sort of rodents, there's a mouse featured throughout.
It's really cute.
But they are very close to the camera. It's not like there's like, a mouse in the background. Like, you get full frontal mouse in this.
If you will. Yes, mouse is very prevalent, and I started getting more and more attached to it as the episode went on.
And I'd also argue partial rear.
Yeah.
Oh, of mouse, yes.
Yeah.
Rear of mouse.
Yeah.
Well,
it reminded me of my hamsters that I had growing up. Its little face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a couple of hamsters, dwarf hamsters, Russian dwarf hamsters. They're the cutest kind, I think.
Yes. I accidentally bought a pregnant hamster once.
Oh, exciting.
And it had 10 babies. And they all lived. Good
for them.
And I feel like me. I feel like I did a good job there in not letting the hamster eat her babies.
Yes, which they are wont to do, as do pigs. Pigs are unclean in many ways, but more importantly...
And they will eat pretty much anything.
Yeah, don't trust
I like my ham shaken, not stirred.
Oh, that's very good. You watch Ham Taro as a kid? We're not talking about Poirot today. We're talking about Ham Taro.
There has to be a mystery episode of that.
Oh, there's gotta
somewhere.
be.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
Get your life, Melissa.
Okay.
Maybe it's not a total waste if you watch Ham Taro. No. Ham Taro is an anime about hamsters. You would love it.
Oh, that sounds cute.
Mystery.
It is. It's no We Bare Bears, but it's still cute.
I would say it's superior, but...
I would not say that.
There's an episode, season 1, called The Snoozer Mystery. Season 1, episode 2. The hams, which is what they call the hamsters, are doing some spring cleaning when Snoozer becomes a tough obstacle to move. When the cleaning is done, they all do some thinking about the true story behind Snoozer, and if he really sleeps all of the time.
Is Snoozer just a hamster that sleeps a lot?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What a snoozer.
I hardly knows-er.
Oh, done it.
All right.
Anyway, there's a mouse in this episode.
There's a mouse in this episode.
Yeah. We got to give mouse warnings, but we don't give warnings for, murder, blood, any of that stuff, because it should be implied.
Yeah. I remember on my other podcast, Positive and Negative, about mental health, one of the guests was like, should I warn people about this next part? And they're like, oh no, it's about mental health. So presumably it's going to be a subject,
Yeah.
Anyway, how does this one start? Does it start with the hospital?
Start with hands in places that they I'm going to rephrase. I'm going to rephrase. I heard how that was going and I stopped.
Yes, okay.
We see hands taking things in the dark. We don't know who the hands belong to, is what I meant. And they're thieving. They're being a thief in the night, essentially.
Yeah, stealing little things here and there.
We see trousers. We see diamonds. We see...
we do. We see trouser diamonds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Light bulbs, things like that. And a mouse.
And a mouse.
Climbing around. Yes.
And a clock.
And a
yes.
clock.
For obvious reasons.
Per the nursery rhyme.
What's the nursery rhyme? Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran
up
down
the clock.
Up the clock?
The clock stroke 12, is it?
Uh-huh. Something like that.
I thought it was... No, clock struck 1.
Thank you.
The mouse did run.
Yes. Then it's just Hickory Dickory Dock. at the end.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's meant to be an onomatopoetic of how a clock sound.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
yes.
I thought they were just trying to humble brag about the type of wood that the clock was made out of.
A little column A, little column B.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we then cut to Poirot and Japp at a butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, and I have an important piece of information about this scene once you get through it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So Japp wants a certain kind of meat, and Poirot says, "Oh no, they don't do that here." This seems to be Poirot's butcher that has maybe fancier cuts of meat. Mm-hmm.
Yes, what Japp wants is scrag, which is basically end bits, from my understanding.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that thing they make in Maine that we've talked about? Scrapple.
In Maine?
It's kind of scrapple, from my understanding.
Okay. So Poirot says, "Oh, no. Just get him the filet mignon." And so he buys it, and he's absolutely horrified about how much it costs. And they pass by some folks that are protesting.
That is the thing I wanted to talk to you about. Now,
Great, please do, because I don't know what this is.
No. It costs 6 shillings, this meat.
Oh, yes.
And I went to a place, and that is roughly $45.
In today's money?
In 2000's money. It only calculates to the year 2000 for some reason.
Okay.
Anyway, so I assume it's gone up since then. So probably around 50 pounds, which if you convert that again to USD, it's going to be like $65 for a pound of meat. So I can understand why he's livid at Poirot. That he's tricked him into buying a pound of meat that costs him a week's of the maid, is what he says.
Well, as the town prostitute told a young Jennifer Lewis, always check the meat. Always.
Yes.
Which can be heard in my Audible recommendation for this week, The Mother of Black Hollywood, the autobiography of Miss Jennifer Lewis.
Ooh.
Amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Sidebar again, this is a tangential episode.
I think people enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy it. I think we're fun.
I think we transcendental.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep
I
going.
lost it.
No. Give it to me. Come on.
All right,
I think we transcendental that expectation.
There we go.
So Arby's has had the slogan, "We got the meats," since the 1960s. Now, here's the thing. That's not the full slogan. The full slogan is Arby's, "We got the meats for sandwiches."
Yeah.
Which is chef's kiss. Never change Arby's. I recently found out that McDonald's at one point during the 1970s, the slogan, "Hamburgers is a place where you love," something equivalent to that. Because it used to be McDonald's is a place that you love, and then someone changed it for a year and a half to "Hamburgers is a place you love," or something very close to that. Highly recommend going on.
I feel seen.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I feel seen.
Yes. I highly recommend. There's a Wikipedia.
I found love in a hamburger palace, a new song by Rihanna.
Yes.
Oh my God! I want that new album so bad.
Stop! You can't mention it, or she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna let us have it. We have to not talk about it for a full 2 years, and she'll give it to us.
Yes. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It's "Hamburgers is your kind of place."
Oh. Okay.
Which is...
Not wrong.
What does that mean?
You know where hamburgers are?
Yeah.
Like, that's the place.
Yes, but hamburger, not a place, Tyler. Hamburger, not a place.
Okay, I'm sorry, but say we're in a room.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
and there's a hamburger, like
okay, I'm with you. Let me visualize.
On like the right side of the room, like on a table.
Okay.
If I wanted you over there, would I not say, "I'll meet you at the hamburger"? Is it not then a place?
No, you would not. You would say,
like go stand at the hamburger, please.
Oh goodness.
I think it's valid.
I'm with Tyler here. I think Tyler's right.
I think it's genius, but it doesn't make any sense. Oh, I think we found the preview clip for this week. Oh.
Very good.
Oh boy.
I thought you were going to...
are my kind of place.
Okay. I thought you were going to describe what the protests were about.
Oh, no, not at all. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
Yeah, let's not go there. But
they're protesting
You
jam?
didn't mention Wendy's, right? Wait, what?
It's called Jam or something. The protesters are...
Oh, you're talking about the episode, the Jarrow Walkers.
Yes. Jarrow Walkers.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about like current events, and I was like, not today, Satan.
Yes.
Not today.
No.
So, my apologies.
Do you know about the protesters?
I was trying to talk about the episode. What, the protesters in the thing? No, I don't know anything about them.
I know that it happens, like, in actuality 2 years later than what this episode suggests.
All right. Poetic license.
But I don't know enough about, the situation to speak on it.
Okay.
Will I get into copyright infringement if I put hamburgers is your kind of place on a t-shirt?
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
What if I say hamburger, singular, apostrophe S, hamburgers, your kind of place? It's no longer their slogan.
But how long does a slogan fall under
It was from
copyright?
1966 through 1967. It's been many
Well, why
years.
can't we just make it more like on brand for us? Murder is my kind.
Hamburgers
That might
are
be
my
a
kind
bridge
of murder.
too far.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no. That's a very,
Tizan is my kind of place.
Tizan.
He likes his Tizan.
That's right. That's
what is
good.
it? It's not Scrapple. What was Scrag is my kind of place.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
Where's the beef for sandwiches? Where's the Scrag for sandwiches?
Arby's.com.edu.
.edu.
Hi, I'm Tristan Miller for Arby's University.
So they passed by some protesters, and Jack can't give them money because he spent $1 million on a filet mignon. Then we see Miss Lemon is...
Just yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
Sorry. I got excited because I remembered the episode.
Oh, great. So Miss Lemon is chatting with her sister, who runs the... I guess it's like a boarding house for students.
A hostel.
Yeah,
a
youth
hostel. Yeah. A hostel for students. And
I'll
they're
say,
all...
it gets pretty hostile over the course of the episode.
Yeah, that it does. It's true. So Miss Lemon's sister runs this place, and she's talking to her about all the thefts that have been happening. And Miss Lemon says, do you want me to talk to Poirot? And she says, no, we're good. We also, in the meantime, at some point, meet the woman who owns this hostel, who is a Greek woman. And now, listener, what you don't know is that Tristan just cut out a half an hour when we found out the results of the presidential election in the United States and talked about that for a while. And then The Mandalorian for some reason. So, back to the episode. Yes, so Miss Lemon is talking to Poirot about the place where her sister is, and she's like, here's what happens. Miss Lemon messes up some papers, or she takes bad notes or something, And
she mistyped something, and there's 3 mistakes.
Yes. And Poirot's like, this never happens. You're perfect. And she says, I know. And and she says, listen, what's going on is I've been distracted because my sister is having this issue where there's all these thefts at the hostel that she runs. And he says, really? First of all, you have a sister. Second of all, do you want me to look into this? I'm going to look into this for you. So he goes over to the hostel. They all sit around a table and have a big old chat.
Yes, it's under the guise of a dinner lecture.
Yeah, for these students.
With one Hercule Poirot.
I mean, and the pretty cool deal.
Owner of the hostel does not like the fact that a private detective is showing up.
No, also, there's something going on with her. She's having like clandestine conversations with somebody.
Yes, and also previously, a police officer, did we talk about this, visits the hostel. And everyone's nervous because there was a series of break-ins in a neighborhood nearby. And so he's investigating that.
Right. Also, at some point, there is a rucksack. And I think it's before Poirot comes. There's a rucksack. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, a rucksack.
Yep.
That had been not only stolen, but completely just torn to shreds.
Yeah. Ripped apart. And that was all like in the opening scene when we're seeing the hands.
Right.
The mystery hands.
Right.
Mystery hands.
Oh. Mystery hands. Gonna take a look at those gams. I'm so sorry the song has gotten away from me.
But you have to keep doing it.
Yep.
Just Strap, Season 3, this Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Uh-huh.
Got a good look at those mystery hands, Poirot.
So he has dinner with all these students and they're chatting, and one of them has this theory that he could commit a murder as long as he had no motive. Yeah. And Poirot says, the thing is, you can't because you'll always leave clues. And that's the thing. And so eventually one of them finally says, come on, Poirot, you're not really here just to give us a lecture. You're here because of all the thefts, right? He says, you got me. It's true. So
was it hot young Damian Lewis?
I was wondering when we were going to get to this.
Oh
yeah.
That man.
I knew I recognized him.
Could get the business.
Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Oh, that's
right.
Oh,
yeah.
Queen.
Uh-huh.
We have a divergence here on the podcast, is often the case. And that is all I will say. But I'm happy for you. I did recognize him. I was like, oh, it's Steve McQueen from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I didn't see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I do recognize his face, and it is a good one. I am a fan.
So, yeah.
And this was only his second professional credit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's quite good in it. He's a good actor. And, okay, so here's something that is important. The students all have majors, obviously.
Oh, sure.
There's a Scottish psychologist. There's Damian Lewis, who is a doctor. There is a, I believe, history major that also works at a pharmacy, right? Is that the same?
Yes.
Okay. And then there is a English major from America on a Fulbright.
Yes, Sally. And
then
there's a fashion designer.
Yes, that is the one. And then one
Valerie.
One more.
Yes.
Who's the specky fella?
Nigel.
Yes.
What major did he have?
No idea.
Oh, yes, archaeology.
Major pain.
Archaeology. Agatha's got to throw in archaeology.
And it's something else. It's archaeology and like medieval history, and I'm like, what a nerd. What a nerd with your glasses and your sweater vests. What a dork.
Yeah. He's pretty cute too, actually.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So, yes. They're all chatting about this, and Poirot eventually leaves, and the next day he has two of these kids come and pay him a visit. And it is Celia and the psych major, Colin McNabb.
And can I tell you, nice to have a Scottish accent on this show.
It is nice.
Because it's all very right and proper most of the time. A lot of
I thought it was
English.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all very, like, Queen's English.
Yeah, but you said it was Scottish.
Oh, my. I now take a vow of silence until we review the episode.
Oh, God.
Good luck.
And now the ad break.
This podcast is really just mostly Tristan talking. No.
Sorry, let me just recover from that. Just absolutely destroyed me.
So, Celia and Colin come to visit Poirot, and Celia has something to tell Poirot, that she is the one who has been conducting all of these thefts. Well, most of them.
Yeah, she denies taking Nigel's green ink. She denies taking the stethoscope, the light bulbs, some powder, and defacing the rucksack, if I'm correct.
That's correct. She was only stealing things that had low value, except for the ring, which she thought was low value, but immediately realized in one way or another, which we find out later, that it was a valuable ring. And so it gets returned to its owner in soup, of all things.
Soup galore.
It's one of those things, you know how some people, or at least in the television shows, some people propose by putting a ring in a champagne glass or in like a dessert. Yeah. That should not be done to someone like me who will accidentally consume it. And then we have to go to the hospital. It's a whole disaster.
I would be fine with that happening to me if it's in public. Because it's just how I am. I tend to, be a little bit more dainty in public than I am at home. Like, if it was an at-home proposal, like, that would have been swallowed and passed before I knew anything about it, I'm sure.
Fair.
Talk about passing a stone, am I right? So, there's two things. One, there's a movie.
Talk about a 24-karat meal.
Forget about that gold-plated nonsense. There's a movie where that happens. Someone puts it in a champagne glass, and it's like The Birdcage or something, like a farce.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also there's an episode of Scrubs where a kid eats Turk's engagement ring to Carla, and he spends the entire episode trying to get this like 12-year-old kid to poop out the ring so he can recover it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think I remember that episode.
Yeah, you got to push. You got the little men pushing. You got the little men pushing, God. Is what he said.
I should rewatch Scrubs. I haven't in quite some time.
Yeah. Some things age well, and some things don't. But regardless.
Oh, yeah, I expect a lot to kind of be like, ooh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, could be a fun show at times, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Seen it every episode at least 3 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was on TV a lot.
Yeah. That is a show that really hit the jackpot on reruns.
Totally.
Oh, I bet, yeah. So yes, those are the things she has stolen. And she is very clearly very taken with Colin, and he's very like, oh, she has this interesting psychological thing.
Yes, because she claims to have kleptomania. Which we didn't mention, but now we did. So keep going, Melissa.
So yeah, he's like fascinated with her because of this, and and they're pleading with Poirot, please don't go to the police, please don't involve anything. It's just this little thing. She doesn't mean any harm by it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, don't worry about it. And they leave, and Miss Lemon says, well, look at the two of them. What a little budding romance. And Poirot's like, yeah, it seems weird.
Yeah.
And so he says that he does not think that because other things have been stolen, he doesn't think that this is over. So very quickly, we see Celia getting ready for bed, swallowing her sleeping draught, and I never know how to pronounce that word. Her sleeping draught, and then dying.
Yeah, she
instead of sleeping.
She settles in to read a book and then just croaks in a very dramatic way. I'll say all of the deaths in this episode are very dramatic, number one, and also very unpleasant because they do the thing that is correct, where they have the eyes still open.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did we mention Celia talking about how she knows who's responsible for...
Oh, yeah.
No, we did not.
We did not mention that.
Okay.
Good point.
Celia, before she goes to bed, relays to a couple of other people in the house. I forget who's in the room. But she relays to a couple of folks that she knows who committed the rest of the acts at the hostel, but that person has assured her that they are going to come forward.
Right. Then she dies. And, of course, Inspector Japp gets involved. They, Poirot and Japp do their fun buddy comedy thing at the house.
They show up. Has Poirot invited Japp to live with him because Mrs. Japp is away for a week?
That does happen at some point.
Yes.
In this episode.
And it's very fun, and it's very odd couple-y, and it's, classic comedy. You love to see
it. Because he's constantly telling him, oh, I've got all this food for you, and it's just always stuff that... And Miss Lemon is helping prepare dinners and stuff for Japp and Poirot. And... it's so charming because they're so excited to feed him, and he just eats none of what they serve him.
Yes.
Nothing sounds good to him.
I'll say this, two things. One, I almost did cry when Poirot invited him to stay. I was like, these two men love each other so much.
Yeah.
It's really sweet.
It's really sweet.
And then the second thing is I did say out loud when the first bit where he's trying to eat some food, he's like, my boy just wants a hamburger.
Yeah.
And as we said, hamburgers is the place you want to be. What is it again?
Hamburgers is the place you love?
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
it can't.
A hamburger is what your heart makes.
Hamburger is your kind of place. One moment. Hamburger's my kind of place, Poirot. There we go.
I love that you needed to clear your throat to do the Japp bit.
So Celia's dead, seemingly from an overdose of morphine, and clearly it does not take anybody long to deduce that this was not a suicide. It was more than an accident. Like, somebody had a hand in this.
Yeah. There was like a whisper of, is this a suicide? And then a little bit of, no.
Japp
seems unlikely.
Poirot that. He's like, no. And he's like, I agree. Which was a nice piece of synchronicity.
Yes. Yeah. Because, there's also no letter, and she's almost definitely the type of person who would have written something to be like, yeah, here's why. So okay. We're investigating this. Poirot is chatting everybody up, trying to figure out who knows what. So at a certain point, I'm going to jump a million things I know, but we'll fill in later. Eventually, we do learn. So Celia worked at this place where you could just like walk in and get morphine, I guess. She worked at a pharmacy.
Yeah, she worked at a pharmacy. Yeah, where you could get cocaine powder. And
sure, yes, they use that as medicine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which, gosh, if only.
It used to be in Coca-Cola. That's why it's called.
Lithium used to be in Sprite.
Wow.
And I have a conspiracy theory about why Sprite is marketed to minorities instead of white people. I think lithium's still in it, and they're trying to control the population.
That is
it marketed towards
specifically black people? Yeah, I don't know if you've really stopped and thought about a Sprite commercial, but there's rarely.
Well, I've never I can't even remember a Sprite commercial.
Before movies, in movie theaters, they used to play a lot.
Okay.
There'd be an ad for Coke with a bunch of white people at a picnic, and then there'd be an ad for Sprite with a bunch of people, like a bunch of young, ethnic minority people, like hanging out on a rooftop.
Huh.
Yeah, having a barbecue or whatever. Yeah. Yep, that's my conspiracy theory. It is not correct. I know it's not correct, but
okay.
Well, who's to say? Stranger things have happened.
That's true. Sure. They're turning the frogs gay. So,
not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Wait, return to Frog Day?
I said they're turning the. If you do not know about this Alex Jones clip where he yells, "They're turning the frogs gay."
Wait, what?
Oh.
Okay, I can't get into it now. I'll send you to the group chat. I referenced this bit like 4 times on the podcast, and y'all just like let me have it every time.
Oh yeah, because we have no idea what you're talking about, and so we're just
he's
like
mentally ill. Don't worry about it.
I'm just gonna skate right past this so we can keep talking about Poirot. What did Tyler say? Because it was so funny.
Oh, was it good for you? Oh, gosh. Oh.
So I think we're only 15 minutes into the actual episode.
Okay, so Nigel and Leonard. Wait, yes? Is that who? No.
Wait, who? What?
Who steals the? So someone stole. Okay.
The stethoscope?
Yes. So okay, yes. Nigel and Leonard go to Poirot. I know I'm skipping. We'll figure it out. We just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He the stethoscope was one of the items that was stolen at the top of the episode. Nigel confessed, right?
No, because
he
it was Colin.
Yeah,
because Colin's the one who has the crazy theory about I can commit a murder if I don't have a motive. So they had been chatting. And yes, go ahead.
Sorry. He goes and he's like, "Well, I'll prove the point by going and getting poison, and no one is going to stop me." And they're like, "How are you going to do that?" And then he does it by stealing. He disguises himself as a doctor.
Yeah.
Right.
And he goes and he gets the morphine, no problem, because the doctors use the pharmacy as a shortcut to get to their other medical offices. Waiting room? What's that? Where do you go when you're in a hospital? What's the room
Many
called?
Places. Emergency room?
The room
the exam room?
The room where they keep you.
The waiting room, the exam room. What place
when you're in the bed?
Hospital room.
Just a hospital room? We don't have a better word for that?
No, that's what it's called. I've been in them.
Uh-huh. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
shocked by it, some of you bashing it because I don't like gay people. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you want...
So that's the clip. I'm sorry. I have a very chaotic energy today.
He used to follow me on the Instagram before he got kicked off.
Really?
Alex Jones followed you on Instagram?
Yeah, him and InfoWars separately. And it was very soon after I had posted this I had taken a picture when I was in Denver of this anti Donald Trump display. Put it up, and then 20 minutes later, both him and InfoWars were following me.
Ooh, I do not like that.
I loved it.
That's so funny. That's so funny. You should absolutely put that in your Twitter bio.
Well, I mean, he got kicked off of everything, so it doesn't.
Just put Alex Jones used to follow me.
Barack Obama
there's no way to
follows
prove
Rich.
that, and yeah, I just.
What is anything anymore?
I don't know. Yeah, Barack Obama follows Rich on Twitter.
You raise some salient points.
I don't know. That's in his bio.
Ooh, a sweet thing though. Melissa will probably, I think, would get this. Mick Foley's son was retweeted by Barack Obama, and then Mick Foley and Barack had, I think, an exchange, and it was really sweet.
That's so nice.
Mick Foley is the nicest man in the world.
Is Mick Foley again? Oh, wrestling, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the commissioner who led the investigation on our WWE episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Super sweet man. He is also Santa and a children's author.
Beautiful. Yes, I remember that. So he makes his bet, he gets the morphine, and then he presumably dumps it down the toilet, is what they say happens.
Right. They say they watched him do it. Nigel and Leonard say that they saw him do it. So
can these names be any more British?
Right. So Poirot and Japp go to the hostel because they're like, it didn't take that much morphine to kill Celia. I believe that some of it was kept, like not all of that morphine went down the toilet, because they ask Colin, hey, we know that you flushed it down the toilet, presumably in front of Nigel and Leonard, but tell us more about that. Could anyone else have gone into your room? And he's like, yeah, it was just open, always.
He says, I don't lock it, which is like, as a New Yorker, I'm like, what?
Cray.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all in this hostel.
They're all
and they
friends.
have, like, right. So, like, it's like, 6 roommates or whatever living together.
That's fair.
So, yeah, Japp searches under the floorboards and immediately finds morphine still under the floorboards in this hostel room. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And Colin didn't know about it, though, right?
Yeah, he goes, I've never seen that morphine before in my life.
No, like, he was legitimately surprised. He
Yes.
really thought he had flushed it down the toilet.
Yes.
So.
But they do arrest him, because he's been talking about murder and he has morphine under his floorboards. Morphine, more like less fiend. Anyway,
Damn it, I was just about to...
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of you were going to make that joke? Okay.
Yep.
Do you want to say it together on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Morphine. More like less fiend.
Okay.
Do you get it, Melissa?
I mean, I think as much as one can get it. Okay.
Okay, so they arrest Colin for now.
In the meantime, we see a scene with Mrs. Nicoletis, the Greek woman downstairs, saying to an unseen person, I'm going to tell. You know, I can't stand it anymore, I'm going to tell. And then she's dead.
Yes, because previously she has gone to her brother to sell diamonds that she's acquired.
Yeah.
Right.
On the night of where the police officer has arrived.
We talked about the most xenophobic comment we've heard in a while on this show.
Oh,
right?
yeah. No, we didn't.
And I was thinking about it, too.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So Miss Lemon and her sister are talking about... I can't remember her name,
Mrs.
but the
Nicolaitis.
Greek woman who owned... Nicolaitis, yes. And talking about her temperament. And the sister turns to Miss Lemon and goes, oh, well, she's Greek. And Miss Lemon goes, oh, well, that explains it. I was like, wow.
And that's just it.
Rude.
Specifically her temperament surrounding money. Because I don't... Yeah, I don't know if the listeners know, there's a stereotype that Greek people are cheap.
I actually have never heard that.
Yep, Greek people and Scottish people are known for being thrifty.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
I missed those racist remarks.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. There's so many, you can't know them all.
No,
okay.
You truly can't.
Gotta catch 'em all. Racism.
I thought that was very funny. And I didn't laugh because I was so happy about it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I let it fill my heart. I thought that was very...
Yeah.
I was like a cat in the sun.
Aw. I like that image. It's a nice one.
So she's dead.
She's dead.
Miss Nicoletta's is gone. Been stabbed through the heart. And you're to blame. Someone. We're not sure who yet. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, okay, well, there's been 2 murders. At a certain point, if I was one of the students, I would be like, I'm going to figure out another living situation.
Yeah. I mean, easier said than done, right?
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah.
Uh-huh. So, of course, Poirot is interviewing everybody. At some point, he interviews Sally Finch, the American girl, and she says that her specialty is Keats, and Poirot quotes a poem to her, and she says, "Oh, you really know your Keats." And as soon as she's gone, he turns to Japp and says, that wasn't Keats what I just said, so that's something weird that's happening. And also, they interview Valerie, and...
Really seemed like Sally Fish was out of water in that instance. Boom. Nailed it.
There you go. So, they interview Valerie, who is the fashion designer, and Miss Lemon is there, and she comments on the unusual stitching that she has used and, compliments the work and says it's beautiful. But she doesn't really seem to know very much about anything except for the fact that she says that Celia had been putting on this kleptomania because she was very taken with Colin and needed him to notice her somehow. And so Valerie basically was like, I have an idea. Why don't you become a psychological case for him to study? Then maybe he'll notice you. And it worked. Gross. So Colin has been arrested.
Yes.
And Japp has gotten some dinners that he doesn't like.
And to talk about a bidet, can we talk about the bidet?
Oh my goodness!
Yes, we can.
So Poirot has a bidet because he's a man of culture, and Japp doesn't know what it is, and Poirot lies to him and says, "Oh, don't worry, the plumbing is just broken." And Poirot also keeps the heat very high. And at one point, Japp uses the bidet to refresh his face in the middle of the night when he cannot sleep.
Guess you could say he uses the bidet at midnight.
Come on, dude.
It is so great because also Poirot and Miss Lemon are just exchanging looks because they both know
what a bidet is.
A bidet is.
Day by bidet. Also, at a certain point, Japp tells Poirot a story about this guy who is leading the protests.
Yes, this beautiful episode of Just Japp.
Yes.
Yes. Sir Alexander Cromwell.
And he accuses Alexander of having poisoned his wife in a very similar manner to the way Celia has been poisoned. Because he was, when he was just an inspector, not chief inspector, he was put on the case briefly. And then they were like, you can't go around accusing a man of this status. And so you're off the case, Japp. And then he goes back a second time on his own accord and sees his solicitor and Alexander speaking. And Alexander hands his solicitor a note and says, it has to be done. Just do it. It has to be done. I feel so terrible about it, but it had to be done. And so he's like, I nearly killed his wife. And that's important for later on.
Yes.
Because Alexander is also here initially to try and lead the protests, but he has become too frail and ill and he is in the hospital where Damian Lewis works.
Right. Leonard.
Yes.
So who is it that is there another girl? Oh, Patricia. Yeah. Totally forgot about Patricia. But Patricia is a huge Alexander fangirl.
Yes. Alexander fangirl.
And she asks Leonard to sneak her into the hospital so she can just chat with him for a few minutes, which is terrible, by the way.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's not legal.
You cannot do that. And so he very reluctantly kind of does let her do that. She chats with him, and then she takes a look at his photo album, like his personal photo album. It's so invasive. It's really not good. And steals a photo out of it.
Yes. And then, very quickly, she turns up murdered.
Well, okay, here's what happens.
Okay.
Nigel goes to Poirot. Jeb is there, of course. So Nigel goes to Poirot and says that Patricia knows something.
Right.
What is it that she knows? She knows the
identity of the murderer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, of course. And that he couldn't convince her to come out to tell Poirot, but he wanted to say, listen, Poirot, this is what's going on. Patricia knows. And then they get a phone call from her, and she wants to speak to Nigel. So Nigel is chatting with Patricia on the phone and calls her by name 3 times. And then in the course of the phone call, there is much to do, and it is pretty clear that some harm has befallen her. And we see, as the audience, that she has been murdered.
Yeah, we see this wonderful Cardi B shot, as I would like to refer to it. We see some red bottoms. We see bloody shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know her...
Hashtag Bodak Yellow.
Did you know her full name is Cardigan B? That is not my joke. Shout out to Caroline's...
Cardigan Bardigan.
Love it.
Shout out to Caroline. Does not listen to this podcast.
Gotta love shouting out people who don't listen.
Yeah, Advanced Goose on
In that
Twitter.
case, Jennifer Lopez. Shout out to you. Just because.
Well, we're at it. So they go and they see that she's been beaten over the head with paperweight.
A paperweight and a sock.
Yeah,
which is real street, and I love it.
Ooh, people are racing motorbikes down our
You know what
street.
that sound means, folks.
It's time for trivia.
Yep.
What is the name, without looking at the Wikipedia that you have up, Melissa, what is the name of Felicity Lemon's sister?
Are you asking just Melissa?
No, either.
Oh, Mrs. Hubbard.
But what is her first name?
Mother Hubbard.
Miss, because is the middle name.
Is Hubbard. Let me just check. We will accept that.
Yes.
All right.
It's actually Florence.
Thank you. What was the second meal? What was the meal that Felicity prepared for Jap? And
I know.
Oh, Melissa had her hand up first.
Fair. I didn't know we were doing hands.
Lemon sole.
Now, I have a question. Now, this is for $100.
I would like to add more detail to the answer of my constituent.
Yes.
Okay.
It was boiled lemon sole in milk with roasted vegetables.
All right. Both of you get a point. So right now,
yes,
you both are tied because you both got the answers right. The final question is, what the fuck is sole? Can anyone tell me?
Fish.
It's a white fish.
Okay. So you are currently tied. So we have to have a tiebreaker. This episode has gone on for far too long, but we're still in this bit. So the fourth and final question is, what's my favorite color?
Green.
Yes, Tyler?
Great. Just blue.
Neither of you correct.
Purple.
Yeah, that is the correct answer. Tyler,
Really?
you did it. by a squid.
And I was going to guess that first, and then Melissa said green, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong.
I like green and purple together. I wear a lot of green because I have green eyes, and it makes them pop.
Well, we have that in common. Both of those things, actually.
Yes. So that concludes the trivia portion of the episode. Tune in next week, and maybe it'll happen again if a motorbike crosses our path. We do appreciate your patronage here. Please be sure to spade and neuter your pets.
What is happening?
Bob Barker? Do you not? Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no.
Price is Right.
I know,
yeah.
but why is it in our episode?
Because it's important to remember.
That's fair. Why is anything?
Oh.
Hey. So we go back, and Patricia's dead, beat about the head with a paperweight and a sock.
Mm-hmm.
As the old nursery rhyme goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hickory Dickory Dock, beaten with a sock.
Yeah.
Patricia's dead from the head. Hickory Dickory Dock.
And there's a hair there.
A hair? What color is the hair?
The hair was there.
You
It is
better
a red
beware.
hair. It is a red hair, and only our friend Leonard has red hair.
That's
Ooh,
not
not
true.
only.
That is not true.
Okay,
and
my
we'll
God.
get into it later.
Great. No, that's fair enough. But what else? Oh, then the photo.
Yes.
There's a photo with blood on it. The photo is there.
With a bunch of red craft paint, if we're keeping it 100.
Yes. So Poirot takes that photo because it was, for some stupid reason, left at the scene of the crime.
Yes.
You'd think they'd steal it if it meant that much. Anyway, but no, it's just covered in blood. Red craft paint. And should we take a break? We're about to get to that reveal.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Sure.
Thank you so much for powering through this absurd episode. I really do appreciate it. If you gotten to this point, we're probably at like 45 to an hour, hopefully.
Even though we've been on this call for nearly 2 hours.
Yep. Okay, so we're on the Scavengers Network. A bunch of fine podcasts and other content can be found at scavengersnetwork.com. They recently released a bunch of fall merch. Please check that out. You can go to scavengersnetwork.com and check out all their great podcasts. Speaking of merch, we have a bunch in our Teespring. You can go to teespring.com/Mel. It's in the show notes for a bunch of different options. Once again, I want to thank you so much for, I hope, having fun with us. I know I'm having fun, and sometimes that's all that matters to me, clearly.
You can find us on social media and have more fun with us.
My DMs are always open. Not saying.
Oh boy. You can reach us as a podcast at ADC Pod. It's at symbol, you use it, you love it, at ADC Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I have a question.
Mm.
I know an ampersand is this sign for and. Do we have a special name for the at symbol, or is it just called an at symbol? Okay.
That's all I know it as.
Hey there, you silly Billy Gumdrop. If you'd like to be... If you'd like to get more out of your Amateur Detective Club experience, be sure to visit patreon.com/ADCpod today. For as little as $1 a month, you can receive access to bonus episodes and content. Patreon.com/ADCpod.
Oh. Thank you so much, Edwin, for your wonderful plug. I love to laugh, as we all know. Oh. Does the heart good. All right, back to the show.
So, Poirot's figured it out, as he is wont to do. And he gathers them all together in the hostel. And this little mouse is climbing around everywhere, in the ceiling and in the clock. The mouse.
Well, okay, to be fair to this mouse that we have seen throughout this episode.
Yes.
It is nothing if not timely.
Yes.
You know, this mouse knows where the action is, you know. I think we're the mouse.
Yes, it's the point of view character.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the 1990s film Mousetrap starring Nathan Lane?
Mouse Hunt.
Mouse Hunt,
yes.
Thank you so much. Such a good film. It's
good.
About these two
yes.
men who are trying to renovate an old house, but this mouse, Kevin McAllister style, will not let them do it. It's very fun. Mouse Hunt.
It's a ton of fun.
Beautiful film.
I also really like the film Ratatouille, starring one Patton Oswalt. It is about a rat, not a mouse, but related.
Yes. In the same genus. What I will say as well, as long as we're talking about rodent movies.
Yep.
We're doing that
where
now.
I was about to go. So I think you're going where I was about to go.
Wait, okay, I know. I don't think so. Hit me with it, though, Tyler.
The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, not even on my radar. I completely forgot. It scared me as a child, so I block it out.
But it's a mystery one.
It is.
No, we actually do need to do it.
Yes, we absolutely do. What I was going to say was the most superior rodent film is a film by Aardman Productions called Flushed Away.
Of course.
One of my favorite films, certainly my favorite children's film.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's great. We'll have to do a watch party sometime.
Amazing.
So, this mouse is up the clock. And,
it should be noted that it's like 12:50.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It has to be.
And prior to this, Poirot went to the rucksack shop and bought one for his nephew, in quotes.
Oh, right.
And ripped it apart.
Yes, and
his poor nephew, who was going on this camping trip, was like, "Oh, Uncle Papa Poirot."
I love it when you call me Uncle Papa. So the other thing is this: that we completely forgot another subplot.
Oh, okay.
What's her name? The American girl, Sally. She is working with the Department of what department? A government agency, the British government agency, to track down a smuggling ring which they've traced to this hostel.
Yeah, that's why she didn't know anything about Keats, because...
Yes. And at one point, Poirot gets nabbed, and this gets explained to him.
Right, yeah.
Which explains why the rucksack, when he opens it, has a special compartment for anything you want to put in there, particularly diamonds.
Right. So Sally had been investigating this, along with a man in a trench coat and hat that has, shifty-looking eyebrows. That
looks like Harry Dean Stanton, this distinctive man.
Yeah. So that's her boss, I guess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we find that out. So Poirot, in this reveal, with this big old clock sitting right there, explains that there actually have been two people involved in this. First of all, Valerie helped Celia, encouraged Celia to start the kleptomania thing, as we had discussed earlier. but immediately recognized that the diamond ring that she had taken was too expensive and needed to be returned. And she's the one who got it back into the soup. And Poirot thought, oh, well, why does she know about diamonds? Well, probably because she's smuggling them.
Mm-hmm. Also, the stitching on the rucksack matches the stitching on the dress, which I did notice right away.
Good eye.
Then, also, the photo, which Poirot has gotten the paint off of, what a grisly endeavor that is within the confines of the actual episode. Just trying to get blood off a photograph. Disgusting. God bless him for doing that.
The fact that also the murderer made sure to get blood on the photo is even weirder.
I don't know if that was purposeful, because as you said, they would have just taken it.
I thought it was purposeful.
I mean, it feels like it would be, but it doesn't make sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, the person in the photo is what's his name? Clive?
Nigel.
Not even close. Nigel Thundery. So, yeah. So Nigel is in the photo, and he is related to
the Alexander.
Thank you.
You know, people's hero.
Yes.
So he is the son, in fact.
Yes.
And he has been conspiring with Valerie in this diamond smuggling ring that Mrs. Nicoletis was a part of.
Yes. And he says, you can't...
Because they were like, Mrs. Nicoletis, get on the smuggling deal.
But at one point he says to Valerie, hey, just shut up. He can't prove anything. And she's like, no, I'm sick of this. I'm going to tell him everything. And then the clock strikes 1. And then the mouse drops. Down he come. And Miss Lemon's like, a mouse. And like, that's the most pressing thing. And then Nigel jumps out of the window.
Yeah.
When the clock struck 1, the mouse did run.
That's right, it did.
Hickory Dickory
Dock.
Hickory Dickory Dopey. Sleepy, grumpy,
mopey.
And Dock.
Okay, right, got it.
So he runs away, and then there's this chase scene with the train. He gets to a train station. He fools the cops into getting into the train right as it's taking off, and then you're led to believe that he jumps in front of the next train. But then, and it cuts to a funeral, and you're like, beans, I guess he dies.
Yeah.
And then, no, it's his dad's funeral, and he's been arrested.
Right, he's in handcuffs at his dad's funeral.
Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. And it turns out the solicitor of Alexander comes up to Chap and goes, I was told to give you this in the event of Alexander's death. It's given to the police. And it's a confession from Nigel that he killed his mom because he was stealing her money and she found out and he kept doing it anyhow. And he just was so horny for them dollars that he had to off his own mom, which, whatever, man. And so he's going to prison for a long time.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, he got Valerie really swept up in this whole thing. She was not in it for the murder. No. She was just doing the diamonds, and then it got so bad. It broke real bad for Valerie, who was just trying to do some diamond theft.
Yeah.
But yeah, indeed, Nigel did kill Mrs. Nicoletis and Celia, and then also Patricia,
and
right?
Pat, yeah.
And had Valerie pretend to be Patricia over the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we did it.
And then, in the button to the episode, we have this we have to talk about Japp giving Poirot lunch.
Yes.
In thanks for hosting him for the week.
Yes.
And yes, Mrs. Japp is about to return, and he has Poirot over for lunch and feeds him peas and spotted dick and some sausages, I believe.
Yes. Now, they're known by another word, which also means firewood, and is a derogatory term, so we're not going to say it on the program.
Right.
They're meatballs made from minced off cuts and offal, especially pork. And then you can sometimes add bread crumbs, and it's generally served with mushy peas, which he also gives.
Mushy peas, yes.
Yep. Now, this clip from this this particular episode is a viral sensation among certain kinds of fans of the show. I understand the humor of it, but yeah,
it doesn't really work.
Not anymore.
No.
I'm sure it was very funny at the time. Between that and the spotted dick, everyone was like,
right.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. No, it does not read great.
No, not in 2020.
No.
But I will say the emotional core of this scene is very funny because Poirot says he has an allergy.
Yes.
To them. And so he goes, "Can I just get some cheese?" And he gives him some mousetrap cheese, which is a very plain and simple cheese, from my understanding.
From what I understand, also in the UK, that term is used for cigarettes also.
Yes.
And I do not know if it has the same weight of offense as it does in the States. I'm not sure about that.
I don't think it does. But Tyler, you're British. Can you weigh in on this?
No, it does not hold the same weight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still like not cool, but like it's less of a problem as I understand it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
But yeah, once again, I think the emotional core of the joke is very funny. It's just like, I think there's almost a lost in translation thing here.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's the episode.
We did it.
We did.
What did you think of Hickory Dickory Dock?
So, I got a little bit of a feel for what you all might have thought, but I will go first. I thought it was really great. I really liked this one. I thought it was fascinating. The cast of characters, really interesting, intricate story, but like I had a relatively easy time following it as well. And I thought some of the direction was very interesting. I thought it was well constructed, well acted. Yeah, I liked it. I think I'd give it like an 8.5, 9 if we're doing it out of 10.
Yes.
Because it's feature length. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what you're referencing has nothing to do with this particular episode. I enjoyed it very much. I particularly enjoyed all the Jap stuff. The humor of it was very great. I thought all the acting was solid. It was easy to follow, even though it was a complex story. I think they did a very good job adapting it from, I believe, a novel.
Yes.
Which is always very tricky, specifically for an hour and a half, getting a whole novel in an hour and a half. I think, once again, the core of it's just all the Jap stuff was great. Now, my issue was a personal one. I have this problem where we talked about this with Knives Out too. I wanted it to be Christopher Plummer's character so badly that I was looking for clues to prove my theory correctly. The same thing happened here. I wanted it to be Florence Hubbard so badly. And I thought I was right when they found that that ginger hair, because she's a ginger too.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, oh, am I right? And it just isn't. And that's fine. So I felt like a kind of a schmuck when it was revealed, because he points out all the obvious things that I had picked up on subconsciously, but I didn't like think about them because I wanted it to be something else. So that's on me. And I need to change my point of view moving forward. I gotta just not pretend, like I gotta just not think about who I want, as a writer, who I'd want it to be.
Okay.
But for a while, I really thought it was Florence because they did that Scooby-Doo thing of they introduced her in the beginning and then she's not in the episode. And so I thought it was a true Scooby-Doo formula there.
I see.
But as far as everything else goes, I'd say I'd give it an 8. It's a very fun thing. I might give it an 8.5 because of the Jap stuff. You know me. I've been incredibly taken with Chief Inspector Jap, which is something I was not expecting.
Yeah. Fair enough. I wasn't either.
All right. So I was going to give this episode a 7 originally. But thinking back on it, I will actually give it an 8. Damian Lewis gets a full point.
Yeah, that's fair.
And yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that's been said. No need to rehash.
Okay.
It was fun, and I'm glad that we got a lot more Miss Lemon than we have in a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
when I saw her name come up in the the credits at the beginning, I got really excited. It's like, oh, we're gonna have a feature length with Miss Lemon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because have we had that before? Not really.
I don't think she's been in the feature length before.
She was also in this one a lot.
Yeah, she's very prominent, and she helps Poirot with the case a lot. I like Miss Lemon because she's a better Hastings, because she's, like, on it more.
Capable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regarding, like, the balance of a dynamic with someone helping Poirot with the case. Not necessarily, because Hastings has his own charm, obviously.
Right.
Good
Lord.
Yeah. Him being a bit of a dunderhead is very fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where she's like, yes, that I knew that wasn't Keats also. And then she points out the stitching because she knows that's going to be important later and like stuff like that. And I agree.
Yeah.
It's really nice having her in this episode.
So next week, we're trucking right along to season 6, episode 3. Hey! It's Murder on the Links.
Oh!
Yes. So this is adapted from a novel that Tristan and I read and reviewed in, like, I think episode, I don't know, very early on.
It's like one of the second book, right?
Yeah.
So 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard that episode.
Yeah, because before you were on, you were a loyal listener, which was very appreciated.
Yeah. So while Poirot and Hastings are holidaying in France, a businessman tells Poirot that his life is in danger. The next day, he is found stabbed to death on a nearby golf course. Yeah, I remember this one.
Mm-hmm. Talk about a good walk spoiled.
Right? Go for a walk and then you get murdered.
Talk about a walk to remember, Mandy Moore.
So now we're just looking around. Now we're just like... we're just remembering things.
Talk about a walk the line.
Talk about walk hard.
Talk about walking on the sun.
Talk about a march of penguins.
And with that...
I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to a close.
Gavel sound.
Dickory, spotted Dickory.
Oh, okay.
2 hours.